Well, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get it's in progress. No one has to hear all that fucking gear speak today. Yeah.
Nope. No one has to hear me admit that I haven't played guitar in 2 years.
Except now they have. Okay. So I guess we'll jump into it then. Yeah, we
Okay.
just pre-showed because I was waiting for my stuff to upload because my computer's slow.
All right.
Hello, welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we dive into all of the episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here. On the other end of the microphone is Mark. We're sharing one microphone.
Hello, this is Mark. We're sharing one microphone.
Yeah, okay. And not really because that's confusing.
I came here from heaven to tell you that I'm the best at podcasting, and you have to bet your life that you can't beat me at podcasting.
How do you do points on that?
Don't know.
Is it like that was a zinger? I give myself 5 comedy points.
Are you telling me you don't have like YouTube like very detailed data that shows where people hit the fast forward button?
No, there should be a laugh button. When you laugh, you have to hit the button or you're a bastard. You're just killing the ratings if you don't hit the. It's like you laughed and you didn't hit the button. That's not
Oh yeah,
cool.
okay, yeah. If you hit, there's a like button, and you have to like keep hitting the like button while you're listening to the podcast, or it'll get canceled. That's hell. I don't want that to happen.
You'll get
Please, no
canceled
one.
socially if you don't hit the like button.
No, it's terrible. Please like and subscribe and continue to hit the like button for the next 30 minutes.
That's a Twilight Zone episode of its own, but it's not this week's
It might be
episode,
one. It
which
might be
is
one.
probably more like a Black Mirror, to be honest. But
Could be both.
today has no computers in it at all, so we're safe.
Nope.
We're safe playing a game of pool.
No
Billiards,
computers, no
nasty.
microphones, no TV, no radio.
Bolliards
Just two
if you're
men.
really nasty.
2 men, one alive, one dead, in a room with a game of pool.
That's right. Let me do some trivia for this. The original air date was October 13th, 1961. The script is by regular contributor George Clayton Johnson. This episode uses stock music, though Jerry Goldsmith did make a few uncredited contributions. Buzz Kulick is back to direct. He's also a regular contributor. The gang's all here this week, including pool shark Jesse Cardiff, played by Jack Klugman. We've already seen him in a passage for trumpet, and he makes a total of 4 appearances in the zone. Of course, his other claim to fame is opposite Tony Randall on the TV series The Odd Couple. Jonathan Winters is that spectral pool player Fats Brown, and the actor is legendary as the character. Is that what I meant to write? I don't know. Anyway,
The character Murph.
Maybe that's what I meant. I don't know. He had a sterling career in LP stand-up comedy, as in on record. Showed up on both Hee Haw and Mork and Mindy as Mork's son, and basically did deathbed voice work for the Smurfs movies as Papa Smurf. He was committed to those Smurfs.
Wow.
Let me hit you up with that prologue, which you will then hit everyone else up with.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Jesse Cardiff, pool shark, the best on Randolph Street, who will soon learn that trying to be the best at anything carries its own special risks in or out of the Twilight Zone.
I don't know about our listeners, but I think I hated that.
Good. I just was going to save that for the shortest one I ever had to do.
Right. Well, this might be it. So I guess choice well chosen. I think, what if you did the Satan without the reverb? Can you do the Satan part without the reverb part?
Yeah, but I'd have to go into the effects processor and change the reverb setting, which I just didn't do.
We make our choices, don't we? Yeah.
I chose to not spend any time on that and use the setting I already had.
That's right. So you and I have spent some time in sleazy pool halls, I think.
Yes, I had to look up what this game was.
Oh, the specific one they're playing?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't getting game specific. I was just saying, like you have to call all your shots in the one they're playing, do you?
You have to call your shots in like 8 ball or 9 ball, but the thing is, in those games, you do one rack, you shoot the balls in order, and you pick stripes or solids. This is just points, points, points,
Okay.
points of Palooza, if you will.
Oh, okay. I wasn't paying too much attention to the mechanics of the game because obviously the real game here is the weird psychological struggle of I don't want you to win, but I can't let you win, and you don't want to win, but I can't tell you you don't want to win.
This is definitely. There are a couple of things where he says, "Sorry, I had to tell you that." There is some legal. There are some legal catches that we're not actually privy to, but are hinted at, which was fun. This episode, it fits that the intro was so short. This episode is in a huge hurry.
Yeah, but it's 25 minutes, but and two actors. That's kind of the crazy thing, right? I mean, it kind of takes its time and hurries at the same time.
It really, well, it hurries to get into it because it opens on just a guy who's yelling, "Come face me, Fats Brown," and then he shows up in like 2 minutes. He's like, "I'm here, let's go." And then at the end, it's like, "Oh, you'll see what you did wrong." And then Rod Serling shows up. He says, "Well, now he has to play everyone. Good
That's
night."
not exactly what he says, but
Yeah. What if he did say that? But that's like it really felt like that. Like he just sort of dropped that in. Apparently there was an original ending to this that was different.
when they remade it in the 80s, and I actually intentionally did not look at the alternate ending because we will get to the 80s one. I believe
Mhm.
that's where Fats does win or whatever, but there I did notice on my Blu-ray there's like Jonathan Winters like reading the alternate ending, but I didn't
Hmm.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Anyway, I was
they
like,
were getting ready to film that and then they changed it, which I think this ending is great personally,
this one's
even
great.
if it's a
So
little hurry.
like I said, when I get to the
Hurried.
later one, I'll see the alternate ending and maybe I'll be surprised by it. So I kind of intentionally didn't look that up, you know?
What did you think was going to happen?
What do you mean?
What were you as you were watching this? What did you think, or did you already remember the entire
This
deal
is
with this?
this is one that I've seen many times, and
Mhm.
I can't. I mean, I just I knew where it's going.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. So, the one thing that I did think it though is this like a film blanc, the opposite of film noir? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Okay, you got me. You froze. Hello. Hello.
All right.
Okay. Well, guess they didn't fix it.
Fuck, dude.
I know. I went down there. My father-in-law started taking down the time, so I guess he's gonna bitch back at him. But it's like, dude, why did you change the provider?
All right. So we were saying you knew how this ended. I did not. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but I thought that
You thought it froze again? Do you hear me now?
eh, oh hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Maybe yeah. Honestly, if it keeps happening, I guess we'll delay this. But
Yeah.
fucking hell. Okay.
Damn, dude.
I know. I mean, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, whatever. I wasn't going to be doing anything at 10 p.m. anyway. So it's all good on a Sunday, on this Sunday. Um, so yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I sort of assumed that he was going to win, and then Jonathan Winters was just going to be like, "Well, see you later." And that was going to be it.
Oh, that's it. Just it was just a jolly game of pool, and he goes out.
I guess I didn't. This again. This show's gotten better and better at me not thinking about the twist because it ratchets the drama up so high, which is good. Good filmmaking. You know.
I was gonna wonder if this counts as like a film blanc. Do you know film blanc?
Does that mean everyone in the film is white?
No, it's opposite of a film noir. It's like like heaven stuff, like defending your life or heaven can wait. And there's
Ah.
Mr. Chips or whatever. I don't. Is that a film blanc? I don't remember.
Okay, I've got a question for you. Is Fats Brown in heaven? Did he
Um,
come from heaven?
well, they
Because
have white fluffy clouds.
I kind of think he came from hell.
Maybe because a nice place to visit looked nice at first too, right? But it had
Yeah.
the film. That's why I asked, is this a film blanc? Because those shots looked very film blanc, right? But then
He's
the content's kind of dark and hellish.
yeah, and he's terrified, and then Jesse Cardiff just ends up in one of those hellish time loop things,
Right. Well, it's not in a
right?
loop so much. He just has to go play pool whenever he's called upon to do so. Which I don't know how often is someone
Actually,
like screaming to the winds that they want to beat Jesse, especially like he's not as famous. I think
it's a little bit weird that Fats Brown he probably hasn't been dead for that long, right? Like it
He,
doesn't really say, but
I think he does. Maybe 15 years or something, like a while, but not like it's not like crazy in the past.
yeah, it's not like you spend 3,000 years having to be summoned to play pool. It's not.
So maybe this is purgatory.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it seems bad, and I'm not so sure he came from heaven. That's
Yeah.
or went back to, and I'm not sure Jesse Cardiff ended up in heaven. He seemed
Although if hell is you have to play a bunch of games of pool, it's not like the worst thing ever.
exactly. That's actually what makes it kind of scarier. Where it's like, why are you so afraid of being stuck playing pool? It's kind of well, I guess it's because he does the whole thing where he says that he went and made love and climbed mountains and
Now he's just playing pool all the time. Maybe that's the thing because
swimming.
Fats Brown is now just playing pool all the time. And whereas this guy's doing it as a living person, Jesse's doing it as a living person, which is
Yeah.
kind of offends him. It's like Babe Ruth, obviously had things going on other than baseball.
We don't really
They
know
killed him.
that Jesse. We don't know for a fact that Jesse hates playing pool, except for he looks kind of annoyed at the very short voiceover at the end. He looks just kind of like ah, but also like how long until Jesse died? He's did he die immediately? Because I'm like a little confused about
No.
that.
He was like,
Also,
you'll find out. So I think he lived
Mhm.
his life. Maybe he did become a very
Ooh.
famous pool player, and then he died with this.
but like he looked like the same age he is now, and also if Fats Brown is out of the contract at that moment, then
Then he goes to heaven.
who plays pool until Jesse Cardiff dies?
Well,
Who
time
has
doesn't
to
matter.
play pool?
Time doesn't matter. It's like
Does he go back in time? Like
again,
if
it's like
Jesse Cardiff dies in 1961, or no, he's alive in 1961. He dies in like let's say 1971. Does he have to go back in time to 1962 to play everyone who yells, "Jesse Cardiff, come face me, I'm the best"?
Yes, because time doesn't matter in the great beyond. You're thinking too linearly, right? It's
I
like the
suppose I
lost
am.
it's like the lost finale where they probably all died at very different times, but they all convene at the same place, looking the age that they were at the beginning, or well, 6 years after the beginning of the show.
See, I do understand time because I stopped watching that show in the first season.
Right. But
Uh,
yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're trying to work out the logistics in detail, you're going to run into some issues.
yeah,
When does
it like that's why I said it was in a hurry. It doesn't like try to like do a whole bunch of world building. It just runs straight into the pool game as fast as possible, and then at the end of the pool game, the show's over.
what if he can't get beaten until uh, well, he has to get beaten, right? So what if Poole becomes like falls out of favor and nobody cares about Poole in 100 years? Does he just have to hang around waiting for nobody to challenge him to a game? Does he change it to a different game that uses some of the same techniques?
Maybe they correctly surmised that pool will just be around forever.
Does he play Parigi Squares or Pyramid, or some other sci-fi games in the future that maybe use skills used in Pool?
He has to go play Dance Dance Revolution against a child in 2015, and that's how he gets out
Yes.
of it.
Was Dance Revolution unpopular in 2015?
Yes, it still
Okay.
is
It still is.
popular
Okay.
now.
I don't
I
see the
mean,
prima donnas at the arcades anymore. I guess I don't go in arcades as much either. So
I have no concept of what the arcade scene is like, but I can tell you that there are more arcades in Atlanta than there have been in the past like 20 years.
okay. I feel like the pros in Japan are more on the taiko game these days, or at least they were 5 years ago.
Whoa. I
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty good at like Wacko, which was just taken offline, and Groove Coaster, which just had like its last upload this past year, so I'm a little bitter, but they're
What's
new games.
I bet it's no Groove Blender. You know the
Uh
Groove Blender? I sent you the Groove
no, it's
Blender,
no
right?
Groove Blender. I don't know what that is. Is
That
that a
that was
giant
that's when
blender?
Camel Cigarettes in the late '90s had a sweepstakes for Joe Camel's final hurrah, and they had a party in Vegas where everyone smoked a lot, and it was groovy. I'll send you the clip for that, and then other people should just look up the Joe Camel Groove Blender, and you'll it's magic. It's a magical clip.
Well,
So
I know that there are games that you guys have that we don't, but we're getting some of them. Like there's one where you just like there's a big touch screen that's vertical and you dance with like an idol and you pick one and it's like a virtual person and you dance with them by like mimicking their hand motions and they like say things to flirt with you.
you all got Tank
And
Tank Tank, right?
we actually do have a tank here.
Okay, that's good.
That's the first one that I. It's the round one here as the first tank that I've ever seen in Georgia. There's
Okay,
been a couple in Florida for years, but we
table
also
flipping
have.
game. Do you have the table
Yep,
flipping game?
we have a couple of those. We have My. We have
Okay. I
Chun
guess you
them.
guys are covered. So
We
do you
have
have pool?
Theatrhythm.
Can you play a game of pool?
Yes, I can play a game of pool.
How is your pool game? Mine was never that great.
Bad.
Okay,
I'm
because you said
ambidextrous, but
that's
I'm bad at pool.
that's my point. You said you're ambidextrous to play pool, so I assume that meant you had like accrued some kind of skill,
I mean, I have the skill of shooting pool with left or right hand.
but not well.
Badly.
So
Not well.
you do
No.
both badly.
I'm
Okay.
extremely impatient and bad at planning things out. So those are bad qualities for a game of pool.
I don't remember us. I mean, I know we did play pool, but I don't remember like the details of the game. I don't remember if I beat you or you beat me, or if we were just we probably got kicked out of pool halls for being too crappy, right? Does that
I
sound
don't
right?
think you get kicked out of pool halls for being bad at pool. I think you get kicked out for just not paying or hanging out too long. But I don't even know like where I would. The first place that comes to mind that I would go shoot pool is Main Event, which is like a Dave and Buster's, and you can pay. I think on Mondays or something, you buy a wristband and you could just play pool all you want all night, and also laser tag and bowling.
Okay, what I remember most is a place in Athens where I think both of us went playing pool with our mutual friend Devin, who was actually good at it,
Yeah.
and then a place in Atlanta near the Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh, Mr. Q's.
Maybe that's it. Yeah,
I don't think that's there anymore. I think there's still a Miss Q's,
Oh,
which
maybe
is a
they got
better
divorced.
joke. That's a better joke,
That's a
right?
much
Miss Q's.
So Miss Q's must have been the first one. Mr. Q's was
I no
not
idea.
franchise, but the second location. Yeah.
No idea, but I haven't been to a place like that in many, many years because I just
And I have
have.
just as strong feelings of playing pool in a pool hall as playing Marvel versus Capcom. So as you might as well. So,
Mhm. Well, I have
yeah,
stronger feelings of playing Marvel vs. Capcom because I've played that a lot more over the past 10 or 20 years than I have pool,
right.
probably.
Well, let's get into their accoutrements a little bit. He's got his what $600 Q and a visor. It's like fedora versus visor here, which I am on Team Fedora. I'm not into visors.
Oh, I mean, Jonathan Winter. I mean, Jack Klugman is great in this, but Jonathan Winters is like uncanny. He's
Yeah,
so
he
great.
does. If anybody's gonna look good in a visor, I guess he manages it, right?
He has the whole thing where he has the body language of like a terrifying presence, but also says a bunch of stuff that you would expect a dead person to say, and also just has this presence. It's a little weird that he keeps calling him fat when Jonathan Winters is seemingly like an average American size now.
He's
It
a
makes me
little
feel bad.
stout. He's a little bit stout.
For 19 for right now. I guess I don't know how old he was at this point. He must
Oh,
have been in his
that's what
40s, right?
no, that's what I was say. I when I was doing the trivia, I saw his birth date was 1925, so he's only like 36 in this. So he's one of those guys that just never. I think he's one of those guys that never looked like a young man.
Hmm.
And I always confuse him with Walter Matthau and
Oh
Tom
wow.
Bosley. All three of them are like kind
Oh
of.
yeah.
They're all
Or
kind of. I'm not saying they're interchangeable. They're all very talented, but they're just easy to mix them up in your mind. Like I was like, was it Jack Klugman and Walter Matthau as the odd couple, which is correct but not correct at the same time.
I mean, Jonathan Winters in this is almost like Orson Welles' presence, where he was just so weirdly grim, and it's really fun to watch him just do
Yet
his
personable.
thing.
He's grim
Yeah.
and personable at the same time, which I guess that's what Pip was supposed. It was a Pip in a Nice Place to Visit. He was kind of supposed to be like that, but he came off a little
Mhm.
more menacing, right? Because
He
he was
was
the devil,
scary
or at least a
all the
demon.
time.
Whereas this
Yeah,
guy's
I
not a demon. He's just like he's gotten caught in this weird, eddy of the afterlife.
Yeah, he's get caught in this chip on the shoulder hell, chip on your shoulder purgatory,
Yeah.
something. I don't know. Shoulder chip land. That's
Oh,
where he is.
by the way, I did actually. I'm noticing here that I did write. He died 15 years ago, so it is 15 years that
Hmm.
that Fats has been dead. Just to confirm, because we
Okay.
always, so.
Gotcha.
But Fat's real strategy here is to just mentally wear down Jesse. Like Jesse's like, hey, that's not fair that you're doing that.
That's I didn't entirely understand even rewatching this. I was sort of like seems like he's I think he has to make him believe that he's trying to beat him because if you really wanted to lose and be freed, you probably would just be
Maybe if he
like
loses on purpose, he does go to like real hell, like like the
yeah,
fire hell.
like he is the pool table, like he's the pool table, and there's just like people shooting balls into him.
Yeah, sure.
No, but like, do you think that part of the deal was he had to drop the stick?
Maybe
Remember
I
that?
don't.
Do you think he had to drop the stick like just to make sure?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he had to be like a little cheeky. I mean, that's what a pool shark does, right? I mean,
Mm.
while Fats is like, I had more fun and I was like, ripping it with the ladies, which you're not. Which what I don't know. What's the point of being really good at pool if you're not going to pick up chicks as a reasonably young man?
There's also the idea of a pool shark. Isn't the idea of being a pool shark specifically like dishonest?
Yeah. So in that case, that's why I said Fats' little techniques there are probably somewhat okay because that's what a pool shark would do,
Mm.
right?
It
Because
might be a little bit of a misuse of the term. It just
because
seems like
early
they're
on it's
just
like what the score is like 9-47 or something. It's like, oh, it's just the beginning of the game. That's pool shark stuff to do, right?
I think that, but I thought the idea of being a pool shark means you go in and you challenge somebody to a game and you do kind of, You're like, oh, look at silly me, and then you get the and they win, and they take some of your money, and then you up the bet, and then you destroy them and take all the money.
Well,
Like I thought
Fats
that was
can't.
the whole point of that.
Fats Fats is at a level where he can't play like that because everybody knows he's really good. He can't
So
be
he's
like
like
silly
reverse
me.
sharking. He's
Yeah,
reverse sharking,
he's land sharking.
crashing. That's
Yeah.
the opposite. That's not really the backward shark backwards. Isn't really crash, but it's close.
But just by definition, he's so
Harsh.
legendary. He's coming back from the afterlife to play pool. Like we know he's good. You know, he can't really be like, oh, looks like I've lost a bit of my verve in this.
Which just goes back to this episode was in a huge hurry.
But I am thinking. I mean, you and I are more like music guys. Like you know, we made arses of ourselves in the pool hall for the most part. So, but I'm like, I don't want to challenge anyone to being like really good at guitar or anything. I don't want to do the crossroads thing. I never understood the devil went down to Georgia. You know, that
Well,
didn't
I've
make
never.
sense.
I don't know about how you feel, but I've never really tried to be the best at playing anything because I've always been more interested in composition.
Same
Like
here. And just
it was
having
one of
fun
these
doing
things
it.
where, yeah, it's one of these things where when I was in junior high and took violin, I would go around and learn all the other instruments while everybody else was hanging out. And it wasn't at the time I was like, oh, I just really want to try everything. But what I realized when I was older was that I want to control the entire orchestra. I don't want to just play one thing. But I don't want to. I
So
don't
you
want to
want to
be.
be a conductor? You want to conduct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would rather be a conductor than be the best at any one instrument because
See,
one instrument is limiting to me.
yeah. I don't I could see that more with cello. I mean, I'm you know, I'm not a professional cellist, but I do see where you get to a point you're doing the technique and you're really like, I want to find a way to do this better than anyone else. Whereas on guitar, I'm
Mhm.
like, I hope people like what I'm doing. I hope it sounds cool. I hope people are like he's good, but I don't expect anyone to be like he's as good as Hendrix, you know?
I'd say that sometimes with video games, I want to be as good as possible, but I'm not under any like illusion that I could be the best at anything because most games, you to be the best, you have to play with mouse and keyboard, which I don't like. I just don't like playing mouse keyboard.
Oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm that's why I'm talking music here, not video games more.
Yeah, but I'm
Video
just talking about mastery in general. It's like that's the closest thing I have to an interest in mastery is video games.
I mean, I think the most competitive I've got game wise is you and me trying to blow ourselves up in Halo. So
Yeah, I still play Halo and try to be really good at it.
yeah, I'm sure you could just tear me a new one now because it's been so long since I played it. He's
I
like,
mean,
oh,
it's
got you in the
free
head
if you
again. Oh,
ever
got you in the head again. Ah, got you in the head again.
if you ever get a gaming PC, you can play for free online.
Okay. Oh,
It's just broken and messed up and it feels rigged all the time.
Okay.
And Halo Infinite anyway.
Yeah, you didn't sell me on that.
Well, it's free. So I mean, you'll play it and it's free and you'll play it and you'll be like, this is really fun. I'm glad that I spent time playing this free game and you won't feel bad about it.
But that is, I think, the big point of this episode is this game is no fun for Jesse. He's so serious about it, so obsessed about it. He can't even enjoy it. Fats at least is like, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed some other stuff. You know, I lived a rounded life.
Well, it's like how can you even enjoy something if you're saying I'll die if I lose? Is that even possible? I mean, it's just like
Yeah, good point.
I don't even understand the idea of betting my like that
Again,
would never happen. I will never say like if I lose I'll die because that's how confident I am at how good I am. I will never care that much.
okay, I'll give you a choice right here and now, Mark.
Okay.
Would you like cake or death?
Cake.
Okay, there we go. There's a little pause here. Think about it for a second.
Of course I do. You have to think about things.
But
I mean,
that's
Jesse
kind of
thinks about this for a minute, doesn't he?
that's kind of what I thought about. I was actually asked that on the Discord for some reason. I forgot why, but so I was referring to something on Star Trek, and it was like, "Do you want cake or death?" I was like, "That's okay. That's a good question."
It's like Klingon birthday party.
Yeah, it's like because it's like, well, let me think about it. Am I going to play a game where I might die? I don't know. I guess it's gladiatorial level.
Like, would you go in? What's the Klingon afterworld? It's like
Valhalla is the Viking one.
Viking.
Stovacor.
Yeah, Stovacor or cake. That's like you ask
Okay,
the
that's
question.
well, if you're a Klingon, that's a hell.
You
Of a
take
question.
Stovacor. You take
Yeah,
Stovacor.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. You die in battle and go to Stovacor.
I mean, the
Cake
closest
is
because I the most I'd be wanting to get competitive would be with cello. Although I would have to like give. I wouldn't have to give up my social. That's the point. Fat says you don't have to give up everything else to be good at something, right?
No, especially not when it's free, like Halo Infinite.
Yeah, but there's like Pablo Calas, I think that's how you say his name, the Spanish cellist who he was visited in Arizona or something or hiking. He broke his hand and he was like, finally I'm free for a couple months.
Oh God. I always say things about like backlogs of TV shows and things like that where I'm like, maybe I'll break my leg and then I'll watch The Last of Us. Things like that. Mm.
But yeah, to me, that's like the most hardcore I think I can get. I can understand that sentiment where you feel compelled to practice that much, that you're like, when you finally do break your hand, like, good, I can take a break for a bit.
I kind of don't, to be honest. I'm not a big practicer. I've I've
Mm-mm.
I've played like 250 hours of Beat Saber, and I still like when I'm not playing Beat Saber, I miss playing Beat Saber. But I guess there's also the matter of that since it's VR, you can only do it for 20 minutes without losing your mind.
Sometimes I walk down the street playing a guitar.
Interesting. I guess where you live, you wouldn't just get it stolen off your back like where I live.
Correct. Although I did get stopped by the police a few weeks ago because they thought it might be a gun.
Oh God. You should have started just playing like NWA on your guitar.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. But
I don't know how you even do that.
well, let's get into. I think we still have a few points to make, but it seems
Oh,
reasonable
yeah.
to start asking the questions. The first of which, who in this episode goes in or through the Twilight Zone? Again, you only get two choices on this one.
This is an easy one. Jesse Cardiff goes into the Twilight Zone.
Don't they both though? Because Fats has had the same trip. Like, I mean, maybe he's like, "You wasted your life, dude," but they had the
No.
same. Like, I assume Fats probably
Fats
went
knows
through this.
exactly what he's doing, and he succeeds in the goal he set out to do in the very beginning of the episode.
Do you
Fats is
think?
completely in control of his destiny.
But do you think living Fats might have had played this game, like when he was like 30 years old or something?
Like he played against
Some
like
saloon
Glorg Brownlee, the
from the
pool
old
champion
west
of Butt
of
Street.
Dodge
Yes.
City's Butt Street. Yeah.
Yes,
So
Dodge
like,
City's Butt Street.
I mean, it sounded like Fats was running and gunning and chasing the ladies more. So that's cool. But he still might have been like, I want to be the best. And man, I wish I could play. What was his name again? That guy.
What, Glorg Brownlee?
Yeah, he might have played
Yeah.
Lord Brownlee, and that's how he ended up in his, now Lord Brownlee. When did billiards or pool or whatever get invented? Scotland in the 18th century.
Not
That
ready.
sounds right. I'm guessing that
I think
Scotland the
that
18th century.
I think bumper pool actually came first,
Oh, okay.
ironically. Or maybe not ironically if you're a fan of bumper pool.
By the way, no one quote me on that fact I just said because I just guessed that.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
Okay, you're on it. That's cool.
Wow,
Wait,
I searched Google for billiards and it said Mr. Q's 2 is that's
Mr.
a
Q's
place.
too, not Miss
Mr.
Q's
Q's
too.
2.
But
Mr. Q's 2.
it's so close
It's
to
a
the
place.
pun and it fails.
It's next to this Kroger that they rebuilt where they have glazed croissants at the Kroger.
Is that the murder?
See, I know
Kroger?
that more. I'm more familiar with where to get the glazed croissants than I am to the where to play pool. The one near where your dad's house is.
Oh, is the murder Kroger still there?
It was rebuilt completely from the ground up, and it's actually very nice. But
people still get
still
murdered
call
there?
it Murder Kroger.
Okay.
No one's gotten murdered there yet.
Okay. Well, it can't be the murder Kroger till someone gets murdered there.
It looks like billiards dates back to the 1400s ish.
From where? Where did they play? Turkey.
France.
Okay. Well, if you balance Scotland and Turkey, maybe you end up in like the south of France.
Sure.
Okay.
Scotland plus Turkey equals France.
The Knights Templar invented pool. There we go.
Yes.
That's the
They used it to
conspiracy.
assassinate people.
Didn't the Knights Templar get assassinated? Friday the 13th, all that.
Is that what Friday the 13th is about? Did Jason
Well,
kill them?
Yes. No, that's why the date is infamous because I think it was the Templars that all got offed on Friday the 13th.
I'm just
So now I'm just making you search more stuff.
I was actually just making dumb jokes. I don't actually know what Friday the 13th is, but
Okay.
I guess that's what it is. Okay,
any-
yes, I believe that Jesse Cardiff went to the Twilight Zone. I think Fats Brown basically got out of the Twilight Zone and made Jesse Carter take his place by tricking him.
Yeah, that's
Which
my
is
point
fun.
though. Like Jesse's in the same place at the end of this episode where Fats is at the beginning, right? That's why the scene's so
Exactly.
similar. So, I'm just like I feel like one can't be in the Twilight Zone. They're in the Twilight Zone at slightly different times. The game of pool being the one overlap.
And I guess the main issue I have with this episode is just that we don't really know how Jesse feels about it. He just seems depressed.
Well, that's how Fats is too, though. Like he's still trying. Like you could tell Fats was like
Well,
probably quite the personality in the pool hall because it's still there, but he's kind of worn down too because
yeah.
he's been doing this so long. Again, that's why Jonathan Winters is so good in this episode because he can do both, and both are convincing.
Yes, for sure. I mean, the way he gets all sweaty is very
Oh yeah, I
interesting and
this was
convincing.
in summer. This is one of the sweatiest episodes of anything I've ever seen.
Well, it's a sweaty game. It's a sweaty game.
But you don't move that much. Yeah. They
but
don't
you're
just call me
nervous. It's
Springfield
life or
Fest.
death. You're
I'm
sweaty.
morbidly obese.
Yeah, it's life or death, and you move your arms a little bit, and you're
So
obese for 1961.
So Jesse, okay, I guess that's what Jesse's sweating because it's life or death, and Fats is sweating because he knows what the real deal in this game is for him too. It's life and death for him too, or at least purgatory or beyond for him. So,
yep. So
let's talk about both then. As we talk about, do they deserve their trip into the Twilight Zone? How about Jesse?
No.
No, I was gonna say yes.
I say
ask for it.
I say absolutely no one deserves that.
He asked for it though. He screams.
It's terrible.
For it. He's warned.
He deserves to get to play a game of pool against a dead man, but he doesn't deserve to have to play a game of pool against. Well,
he wants to be the best. If you want to be the best, that's the point. You want to be the best. You have to be ready to challenge
Fats
your
Brown.
position.
Fats Brown also didn't deserve. Fats Brown also didn't deserve to have to play against Jesse. I'll say that. No one deserved any of this stuff. It's like the entire idea that this stuff is deserved is like fire and brimstone Christian hell afterlife, which I don't think people deserve, actually.
See, I do wonder if Fats Brown is like less deserving though, because clearly he was living his life, right? And somehow ended up making this deal. Jesse's kind of punning for it. Where I feel like Fats probably stumbled into it a little more.
I feel like Fats Brown, I mean, all of us have had this. What he reminds me of is there was one time where I was just at this house I used to live at over in Grant Park, and this was back when I indulged in certain things and was just really stupidly high. And I was playing Halo, right? And this one guy was playing
Halo
against
reference.
Me.
Was I that guy?
It just happens to be relevant. I'm playing and I'm just kind of flying around, just murdering people, just killing. And I noticed this one guy who I don't really know very well is in my living room, just being like, he's just like getting angrier and angrier. And then he like walks up to me and just flips me off and just screams at me and then like storms off. And what I don't realize is I've just been killing this one guy the whole time. I wasn't playing against anyone else. I was just murdering this dude who wasn't good at Halo. And he basically, I wasn't even trying to be like the best at Halo, but I was Fats Browning this particular Jesse. And I felt bad, but like I didn't deserve his anger, and he didn't deserve to get murdered by me a whole bunch. But it just happened.
Getting back to our old friend Evan, I remember us just destroying everyone at Soul Calibur because I couldn't beat him at Soul Calibur, but I could beat everybody else, right? So
I told you, right, about the time that we just locked ourselves in a dark room for like 8 hours and played Soul Calibur 2 just endlessly. I mean, probably 80 or 150 times, and maybe 30 of those times we were both Yoshimitsu, and he killed me most of the time, but I had a lot of fun because personally, I don't care when I get killed. I think it's fun. I like the feeling of getting back up again.
Okay, we got obnoxious with it. When people would come over, we would always play with the character Killick, who parries a big bow staff. And we just
the donger,
the donger. The only move we would use, like we could do all the blocks, like we were good enough, like other people couldn't get us. So, and the only offensive move we'd use is taking the bow staff and up in the crotch. So we'd like put Again, he could beat me. He was definitely better than me, but
Yeah.
as the people in the apartment, we could dong everyone else. So that was kind of cool. So
But see, I think that's why I'm good at video games is
I still don't
because
want
I
to
don't
life or
mind
death
losing.
it. I don't want to life
But
or death a
no,
game with Soul
I would
Calibur. That'd be horrible.
I wouldn't life or death Soul Calibur or Halo, but it's like if that got me out of having to fight everyone that having to play those games against everyone who decided that they wanted to face off against me because I made them angry, then I would
You have
do
to be
it.
at a
I'd put them.
certain. You have to be at a certain level of skill, though. Can I just be like, "Fats, come face me now," even though I like suck at pool? I mean, you have to have a certain. Maybe you need to have that like
Oh no,
that
maybe that's
outliers 10,000 hours first before Fats will come even like give you let you challenge them.
well, that makes it even worse, right? What if it's just like everyone who's heard of you challenges you all the time?
That
I
makes it
guess
much worse. Although then you just be like destroying people
I
constantly.
guess you
You'd
wouldn't
you'd
really
be a
expect
mass murderer.
even the beginning of this, him yelling, Fats face me is weird, right? Like
It's
that is a
Fats
weird thing to do.
it's Fats guilty of pool hall genocide.
I don't think anyone's I think the guilty one is God. God did this.
God did this.
God is the God is the villain of this episode. Like
Okay.
why are these people in this hellish loop of fun games making games that are fun into these horrible torture devices?
Now I'll
It's
take
like
the Catholic approach of purgatory. Purgatory can be quite horrible if you want to
it
read
could
your
be.
Dante.
Yeah, none of it's that's what's fascinating about this is you only see a guy coming out of heaven and then a guy going into heaven at the end, but all of this is like
Dark.
sad and dark. Yes, it's
Yeah.
like upsetting.
But again, it's like I know it's the first time I said maybe on this podcast. When I read Dante's Divine Comedy, I tore through the Inferno, tore through Purgatorio, got about 10% in Paradiso, and got bored and never finished it.
Yeah, I tried to read
I got
some
a
of
I
it.
got
I
a
don't
good
think I really
translation
tried.
with lots of annotations. Like anytime those
Oh.
politicians showed up, there was like a footnote like telling you who it was, because otherwise it is just
Okay,
gibberish.
yeah.
That's why I
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I had all the context.
okay. That makes a lot of sense. I don't think I tried very hard to read that, or I read part of it for a class,
But the
probably.
context didn't even help for Paradiso. And it's like, oh, whatever. It's fears, It's kind of boring up here.
There's a couple of Japanese things I've watched where it's just they're saying names of politicians, and I'm
yeah.
just like, okay. Or
Heaven.
baseball players, I have no idea.
Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens, right?
I suppose. It's like what do you yeah, what would you pick? A place where nothing happens or you have to keep going to fight every pissant in pool who yells at your
Hey,
name?
at least you got something to do then, right? Otherwise, you're just standing around in little fluffy clouds.
Yeah, again, 15 years doesn't seem that bad. Even if you do have to just constantly play pool for 15 years, that's not the worst thing in the world.
What if there is like a 20-year gap before Jesse dies? It's like, well, the best isn't dead yet. You can just go play him. I will give you Afterlife second best. It's not
What
life
if
or
it's
death
worse?
anymore. You're just going to get a really bad stomach ache if you lose.
What if it's worse?
Like
What
a
if he's not dead, but he
rending.
still has to go play them? What if he's not dead and then that he just shows up
No,
teleported there?
when you're alive, people can just come find you and play you. That's you only scream to the air for dead people.
What if it's like someone calls you up and says, "Hey, hey, you're the best, but I'm the best. I'm going to challenge you." And you try to say the word, "What are you talking about?" No, and your mouth just goes, "Yes, where should we meet?" Like
I
it
mean,
just forces you to fight them
we see
in
at the
pool.
end also before the very end, where he's like starting to tell people, "I just beat Fats Brown," and everyone's like, "What are you talking about? Are you nuts?" I mean, he is going to have to go out and prove that he's the best pool player now. I mean, I guess he can have personal knowledge he is, but he can't prove that to
Mm.
anyone unless he just goes out and beats everyone, which I guess is
What
what he
if
does for the next
Oh
20 years.
God. Okay, what if he doesn't beat anyone ever again and he dies and then he has to play everyone in pool
Then he'll
after?
only be in purgatory for like 6 months.
Oh no. He lives for another 20 years, doesn't get anywhere with his pool career, dies like a homeless destitute man with no career, and then he has to play everyone in pool for the next however many years. I
Yeah,
guess no one would know who he was, so that doesn't
maybe
work.
maybe it's good this episode's quick.
Hey, yeah, it seemed like it was in a hurry for a reason because they were just like,
Don't think about it too long, dude.
don't think about it too long. or you'll have to fight someone in thought competition.
Yeah, tripometer. Where you want to put in the tripometer?
I'm gonna say this one's pretty low, probably 0.5.
Okay, why? Because it's just a game of pool.
Like the only trippy thing in it is the whatever Catholic idea of heaven or purgatory, which we've all seen a million times. I guess that's kind of trippy, but
See, I actually have a quite opposite feel to you. I was thinking
hmm,
4 on this. One,
okay,
because for me,
interesting.
film blanc. That's why I brought up film blanc. Film blanc's one of like the trippiest things for me in general. Like I
I
just
mean,
like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. That's why I will never be convinced that Excellent Adventure is better because Bogus has the film blanc. The new one's pretty good too, but yeah, the
yeah,
Bogus
I
has got the
agree.
film. I like that it's got the weird color film blanc. I
The new
like that
one's fatal flaw is that the song is bad.
okay, yeah, whatever. Who cares?
The
At
song
the
is
end,
bad. They could have just all they had to do was you couldn't hear the song or
mm,
something.
or like
Obscure the
that's where
or that just does some kind of crazy thing where it just goes like
see
makes
that's
some
where
kind of
tenacious
sonic nonsense.
that's where Tenacious D challenging the devil worked out because tribute you're not hearing the actual song, you're hearing the tribute to that song,
I will
which
say that
doesn't have to be
actually
good or bad.
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is better than any Bill and Ted movie. Actually, I believe. Um
I don't believe that, but I do like that movie, so I
I
won't besmirch your feeling. But I'm going for that just weird layer of a psychological game being the real game. Like for me, a game of pool is just a euphemism, even though they are playing pool in this. You know.
well, Jonathan Winters' performance itself is pretty trippy because he's this is something that I feel like a lot of TV
And
and
Klugman's
movies.
obsession, both of them come across as pretty
Mhm.
trippy.
Well, it's something that a lot of these shows and movies get wrong, even now. Maybe one might say, especially now, is that Jonathan Winters comes into this with the gravitas of a dead man, which does not happen a lot. A lot of times, someone's just dead, and they're like, "What? I don't know." Even the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted doesn't come across as like a 3,000-year-old being. Like the new Thor movie really annoyed me because Thor was acting like a weird virgin when he's like 10,000 years old. And I'm like, you could be a virgin if you're 10,000 years old, but it's just he doesn't like there's no like the first Thor everyone's kind of tried to act like immortal beings.
And the
And
first story
Jonathan
that
Winters,
door banged for sure. Yeah.
yeah, well it's like you get the feeling that these are like other alien creatures that have lived longer than we have, and they
Mm.
just kind of took that and balled it up and threw it away
So
in
I
favor
think
of
that element for me, that performance permeates the episode for much that so much that it makes the episode trippy for me. But again, it's all
you've
about the matter
convinced
of
me.
perspective.
All right, you've convinced me. I will edge up to 1.9.
Edge Lord.
Edge,
Okay.
that's me. That's the edge lord.
uh,
Yeah,
anything else
boobs.
you wanted to shout about this episode into the wind?
It's well. Did we talk about the type of game they're playing? Which apparently this 14-1 pool fell out of favor in the 80s in favor of 8-ball and 9-ball. So that's like I said earlier. I had to look up what it was because
Mm.
you and I never played this game.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, so
it's
it's
just.
secondary, right? But that's my point. So it's secondary to the psychological game. That doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I
But it's a
wasn't
long.
thinking at all about the logistics of the game of pool.
Oh, I was like, it's called a game of pool, so I'd better understand what kind of game of pool they're playing. And apparently, that game replaced an even longer game in the 50s or 60s. But yeah, this is a longer game. We would never have played a game of pool that involved just re-racking a bunch of times.
No, that's annoying. Who likes to? I don't know. Racking's fun, I guess,
Them,
a little bit. Yeah, they
these
like racking.
guys,
That's why they do
they
this.
like racking it.
That's why they're pros. They like racking
They
the
like
balls.
racks because they like boobs. Edge Lord.
Only one of them liked boobs, it seemed.
That's true.
I mean, I'm calling Jesse asexual, by the way. His only focus is pool, so that's why
Well,
he's
he
a
did.
bummer in the end.
He went out of his way to say I didn't date a girl, which makes me think that he cares. If he
He's
really didn't care, he wouldn't have even mentioned it.
he's the
But
incel of pool, I guess. So yeah,
he's just a workaholic.
Mm,
He's the guy who sleeps under the desk.
right.
You might
So
have more of those in Japan than we do here, but
oh
we
yeah.
have them. We have them, and I totally understand I understand Fats Brown's contempt for him, but it's like He did what, but you know what? Fats Brown is better at everything. He's he's
He was
better
better
at
at life.
losing. He's better at life. He did. He
He's better at
absolutely
death.
won.
Well, actually, we don't know how Jesse does at death. He might have been like a real swank, like death pool shark. So we don't know that.
Maybe he just showed up and was just yelling at people about how he's the best the whole time.
Maybe
It's like the
Fats
same
wasn't
thing.
cool until he was dead. You weren't cool till you were dead.
Maybe he's lying. What if Fats didn't actually,
He faked his
climb
death, and
mountains?
he's just kind of like Batmaning in and out.
No, I mean, what if he worked super hard and he's just lying about having like bed women before? He's just like, actually, he
I think
did
he
the
was saying.
exact same thing.
Well, I think the point is you could do both, which he did. So he lived his
Yeah,
life, and Jesse
you can.
doesn't get that. That's why he loses. He wins, but he loses, right?
Well, that's sort of a thing about being, I don't know, moderately talented. I'll put myself in the moderately talented category where it's like you just are kind of hanging out and you just demolish a guy in Halo and you make him mad just by mistake because you just happened by dumb luck into some pool talent. Like that seems
That's
like what Fats is all about, is that he's a guy who had a life and he happened to also be very good at pool, and that just kind of screwed his afterlife up.
for a while. And yeah.
Yeah, until he fixed it. And
Yeah.
he's good at that too. And who knows if Jesse Cardiff ever fixed his afterlife. But
Right,
I'd say
right.
Fats Brown is the winner of the game of pool here.
Okay. I guess we'll wind this game down then, and I'll talk about this podcast, which is
Mhm.
Time Enough Podcast. I could just keep going really slowly, like the whole time. Facebook, Twitter, Time Enough Podcast, Patreon, Podcastio Podcastius, Luke Loves Pokemon, Occult Disney, some other stuff. Game Show. We're also starting, which Mark is getting Zoom links for this, so you'll be around for some of these too, which is Films or Filth? Question mark. The Citizen Kane of podcasting, where we will be taking a multi-year effort to look at the 100 best films and the 100 worst films as ranked on IMDb. Coming in a few
Alternating.
days. Alternating. Coming in a few days will be Ikiru, the classic Akira Kurosawa film, followed by 2001: A Space Travesty, and we'll find out if these are films or filth.
I don't think we've got filth until I'm gonna guess that Ballistic X versus Sever will be filth, but we'll find out, won't
That's like
we?
the second or the third one, so we'll find out. That's the whole point.
But also, technically, M is filth.
Yeah,
even though it's a good film.
We'll get into it. Yes, that's why you all should be listening there as well as to this podcast. So do all that stuff. Game match point. Tarkus.
300 points. I win.
Okay, I'll let you have the last word there. Sure, why not?
What the fuck is Tarkus?
Wasn't that the Tim and Eric sketch?
I forget.
It's the one
I
where
forget.
It's where they're Tim and Eric are playing for like who's gonna run. I don't even remember, but it's a tennis game. But they just start saying weird things like Tarkus, multi-target, and stuff like that. Tarkus is also an Emerson, Lake and Palmer album. So type in Tarkus. You should see the Tarkus tank if you don't know it already.
I know I've seen it. It's just been some.
You look at it now.
Years.
I want you to look at the Tarkus tank now.
Tarkus, studio album by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
And you got the cover? That's the important part. You don't need to listen to the album. The album's not good. You just need to look at the cover.
Whoa, sick.
I know.
That's the Tarkus.
That's the Tarkus.
Man, I want to ride that. That's like the space. What if Spaceship Earth was also a snail?
Yeah, don't listen to Tarkus. Just ride the Tarkus.
Okay, cool.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer is like that. That's why. That gives Prague a bad name. That's one of the reasons nobody likes Prague.
And then there's this link shows me a Family Guy joke where the Tarkus shows up at the Family Guy house.
Yeah, for sure. Tarkus is
there you
there,
go.
man. Did you ever listen to any Peter Gabriel Genesis stuff?
No.
That's weird, especially live. You have to see live because he'd show up just in insane costumes while the guitarist is like, no, the bassist is playing a two-necked bass, and But it's funny because it seems like he's a singer who's completely lost the plot, yet he knows exactly what he's doing. That's his genius. Like it
I've
seems like he's,
definitely I've seen some Peter Gabriel live stuff that is like
but
very
with Genesis, like
wild.
yeah, but what he did
Yeah.
solo was like a big production. Well thought, and Genesis seemed like he had just been to like the weird costume store and just showed up at the concert with this shit.
I always kind of read that as like maybe he was getting tired of being in Genesis, but I have no idea
Yeah.
really.
Well, yeah, all that
Oh boy.
makeup. It's like I was seeing Michael Dorn talking about, yeah, I thought I was glad to get back to Star Trek until I remembered how long the makeup takes.
God. Yeah, I read all kinds of stuff about like the actor who played Kira like getting her Bajoran stuff and how much she hated it, and that was just like a nose.
Oh, but the other thing I learned from this interview, which was I think it was on IGN, and it had LeVar Burton, Jonathan Frakes, Michael Dorn, and the showrunner for Picard. But
Hmm.
um, oh shit, where I was going? Oh yeah. He was saying that they modeled the new Worf after what is the Kill Bill Kung Fu master? Wu Wei Wai Pei?
Bill?
No,
Oh,
no, no, no.
Wei Feng Wei or something? Yeah,
And
I know
and
who you're
you know
talking
you know
about.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
I know who
Anyway,
you're talking about.
that they said they decided that was like their model for new Worf.
I read some article that said that he was like he modeled his Worf after the TV series that he wanted really badly. I feel kind of bad they didn't give him a series because
They
like
might after this. Worf and Picard is like phenomenal so far.
that's like yeah, that is like the kind of thing where he would make a really interesting older guy and
He's
also
he's
just
already he's already gotten like two like classic one-liners, and he's only been in two episodes so far.
what's one of those where he's sort of like the company man and you just want to see him get rewarded because he helped carry two different series, which is
Well, yeah,
like a
he's in
lot.
more Star Trek than anyone else, right?
Yeah.
So I think we should get Captain Worf. I honestly I think that might happen because this is over. They're ending Discovery of season 5. Nobody wants Section 31 unless it was with
I
Captain
don't want
Worf.
Section 30.
What if
From
what
what
if it
I
was
know about Section
Worf?
31, I don't want a show about it.
I don't
I
either.
don't I
I
think
do
that
want
was one of
Captain
the
Worf.
worst things in Deep Space 9 was
Would
like
but the Picard kind of insinuates that maybe he works for Section 31 now. So would you accept Captain Worf with Section
like
31?
would I accept like Worf sending people on missions or something? That
No,
sure.
no, they're like on a spy spaceship where they do
Yeah.
stuff, and he wears like a black suit.
Sure, that sounds great. No problem. I just like I just immediately regretted complaining about that because I'm like there were like 8 Mirror Universe episodes and that was worse than Section 31, but you know,
I'm not
I
sure. I think
don't
I might
like
prefer the universe for
I
Section
don't
31.
like Mirror Universe except for the only thing I liked about Mirror Universe is when like you see Mirror what's the other Dax? Esri Dax.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's
Cool.
good.
She's like better in the Mirror Universe than in the regular universe for some
That's
reason.
true. That's
Oh,
true.
and also sexy bisexual murder Kira is also great. But
Oh right, that's good. Yeah. I
but
mean
I
that's why I'm kind of putting it above. That
I
was
hate
with
Mirror Universe
that's the thing with
anything because it's
Discovery. It's like
stupid.
I really like Michelle Yeoh, but but I mean
But
just but yeah.
I haven't seen any of it yet.
Okay.
I still have to watch all of Voyager and maybe Enterprise and and
You know,
should I watch Battlestar before I even watch Modern Star Trek? Should I watch The Orville before I watch Modern Star Trek? Like, what the fuck am I even doing? There's going to be a new season of Lower Decks before I even resolve any of this. I'll watch all of that. Probably.
how much are you trying to get back to like 90s TNG?
I think I'm always trying to get back to it.
Then Orville's what you should watch now.
Okay. Maybe I will. I want to finish Voyager, but it's like, that's just a huge monumental task.
And by season 3 of the Orville, it's pretty like, yeah, it's worth it. Yeah. So
I
I would
haven't
have to
got to
say
7 and 9 yet.
I would just say prioritize the Orville, to be perfectly honest. You do mission log with Voyager, which means you're never watching more than one a week, right? I
Well,
watch
yeah,
it.
that's the thing is that Mission Log. I don't think Mission Log is ahead of me on Voyager, but they're close.
They're about where you are. I just watched like it was Macrocosm. That was like a pretty turd of an episode.
Yeah, I'm not very far past
It's
Tuvix.
like giant CGI dung beetles.
There's a Voyager is so weird with the consistency. It's like just, you know.
It's pretty all over the place. Yeah.
So yeah, some of them are like it's like the best. It feels like the best. I can't say best and worst because I don't think any of these episodes have been as bad as like the worst season 1 TNG episodes. But
Code of Honor.
yeah, just fucking I don't you know.
I actually can. I've learned to enjoy a lot of bad season one TNG episodes.
I
All the
I have to go
DX9,
back.
all the DX7 music helps a lot when you watch
it's
it.
it's just interesting because I feel like I spent so much time with that cast and the later stuff, and it's like it was interesting to kind of loop back around. But
Oh man, I got pissed last week. I bought and returned a Korg micro key, but it turned out this
uh-huh.
computer is too old for it, and then the iPad's too new for it, so I couldn't use it with anything.
Whoa, weird.
It was
Yeah,
like
it's
it's like you
like
have to have like 2015 tech for it to work.
that's really it's really stressful to me like trying
And
to
I just
hope USB gear works with that's the good thing about using PCs is I know I can use everything with them.
yeah, I
Like
just want
that's
to fucking be able to play a keyboard with my iPad, you know?
like I have all kinds of shit hooked up to my computer. Have you seen my controller keyboard? Have I shown you
Maybe.
this?
I feel like you might have, but you can do it again because I don't have a mental picture.
God damn it.
Did you break
Oh, I
everything?
dropped it.
Okay, I'll just assume it. Hi, Patreon people. Mark's cleaning his room. Oh wait, maybe I've not
I mean,
seen.
I think it's fine, but this has
I guess I have
see
not seen that. Novation, is it?
yeah, see
Yeah, I don't
all
think I've seen that.
those all select the instruments. You have all these knobs that can control direct synth parameters. You see that it's the like 8 drum pads there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like there's a whole display at the top that tells you what the fuck you're
See
doing
the
with your
micro key. All the
shit.
micro key had was a pitch wheel, a mod wheel, and then buttons for octave, and everything else you would have to keep doing on the iPad. It's like that's great. That should be simple, right? But
Hmm.
it didn't work. So I was like, fuck. Because I'm like, I could do the
Yeah.
parameters on the iPad. That's fine. I just like an actual keyboard to play on.
But I also have a Launchpad Pro, which is like all of the clip launching buttons for Ableton and like stop and start and all those. So I have like a ton of Ableton control bullshit
Mm,
just in
yeah.
general.
Because you do a lot more automation than I do too. So
Yeah, because I'm controlling like 5 things at once at minimum.
where I'll just go do the 5 things separately.
Yeah, I don't work like that anymore. I like
Because
having all the.
I want everything on isolated tracks. So I can mix it. I was actually
I get that anyway. I actually have a digital mixer where I have 16 ins and I record everything in separately and can edit it separately.
I got the reissues of Copper Blue and Beaster,
Oh, I didn't know there were reissues of this.
they're from like 10 years ago too, by the way.
Oh, well, there
But
you
one,
go.
they do sound a lot better. Apparently, there was actually like, well, one Ryko disc, if you remember, early '90s Ryko disc always sounded tinny. Like they had
Yep.
really good albums, and they all sound tinny. So that's fixed. But
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
turned out they straight up did like I was just surprised like how much they didn't play it live. Like they'd play
How
a few
much
live
they?
shows. They played a few live shows, so the drum
Oh, yeah. I
played
think I
everything.
had one chance to see them live. Period, and they were from Athens, right? I mean,
Well, one of them was Dave Barbas. I saw their final show
technically.
actually. Their final show is at Buckhead Theater or whatever it's called. Is that the name of it? Buckhead Theater?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay,
It was called the Roxy for a while, and now the
yeah,
Roxy is something
that's
different.
why I knew Buckhead Theater didn't sound right. It's a Roxy, and we
Well,
saw
it's
their
Bucket
last
Theater
show,
now.
and they were fucking great. But it's like the drummer went in, laid down all the tracks, and then the bass player did that, and then they went home, and then Bob
Hmm.
Mold just did all the guitars and vocals by himself, well, with the producer. But and then they had to call Dave Barr back because apparently all the bass parts were like slightly out of tune, so he had to do it 3 times because
Fuck.
he did a rough version so the drummer could play, and then he did his studio like his what he thought was the final version, and they're like, "Oh crap, your intonation's off. You need to come back and do it all over again." Hey, Copper Blues a great.
Now you would
These are
just
great
edit it.
albums.
Yeah. Now I want to nitpick them, but I don't know. I guess everything is recorded like that. Most things are not recorded live.
Tilted, holy crap, that's a good song.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I mean, yeah, I record things more live, technically more live than it's just that they're being sequenced live, but I'm like usually turning the knobs, but then I can have them all recorded because I have all the separate ends. I like send the MIDI to everything at once.
Yeah.
And then like have all the tracks separate, but
yeah, because I was kind of like, oh, they click tracked and didn't actually play. Oh, that's kind of crap. I'm like, well, shit, I've been making music like that for 15 years myself, so whatever, you know.
yeah, I think it's more of a mental thing than everything else. Because like the last time I recorded a demo with a band was like many years ago, and I was like, asked the drummer, like, "Can you play with a click track?" He was like, "Yeah," and guess what? He could not.
I have to make
He
kids
could not.
music. I have to make kids music at work, so I was getting the teachers singing in bingo, right? So I was having them clap, and some a few of the teachers like had like so no rhythm, like it was like Steve Martin at the beginning of The Jerk. Like there was a farmer had a dog, bingo was his name. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I actually had to go back and just re-record that part because it was so like so horrible.
I feel like I barely
I left her
even
singing him, but yeah.
I feel like I barely even got that joke when I was a kid, but I definitely get it now.
What joke?
The joke of how he was so off.
Oh, okay.
The
In
jerk.
the jerk.
In the
I
jerk,
think
yeah.
that's. Oh, I always got that joke. That's
I specifically remember not entirely getting the joke. Well, it's like such a weird, you know.
Born to a poor black family. I guess next. Well, we're doing Ecuador, as you know, of course.
Yeah.
As far as otherwise,
Wednesday, I think. My Wednesday.
your
Is that
Wednesday.
right?
I guess we should do Living in Harmony sometime. Which,
yeah.
Honestly, I could do tomorrow if you wanted, or do it next week tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
Monday night for you. It's the 13th. Lucky 13.
I think I probably could do that. I guess that's a lot of podcasting for 1 week, but I mean, I don't have any solid plans. I know you do. I know you do. I'm just saying. Yeah, I could probably do that. Like, do I do the summary for this one?
I honestly don't remember. I think so. Yes.
Okay.
I think. Hold on. What was the last one? Last one was "Do not forsake me, oh my darling."
Yeah.
Let me look at my notes and see if I wrote a summary that'll answer the question.
Good question.
It is. I wrote it, so it'd be yours this time.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you don't,
yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. We'll start.
Because I can easily get that in tonight and make my notes and all that. So
yeah, we can just start sprinting towards the finish line on that and devote more time to
the new stuff. Yeah,
fancy.
So finish that. I definitely want to do the prisoner puzzle. I don't know if I like I said, maybe we'll just hiatus it for a while and come back and do the other ones if we feel like it, which we probably won't, to be honest. But
prisoner puzzle.
That is the McGowan interview from the late 70s. That's like 35 minutes long.
Well, I mean, we could do that. We could maybe just do a combo of that, and like we should do some kind of series wrap up thing.
That's
right.
That's kind of what I thought it would be, to be honest. But it'd be cooler to do it with something people will watch.
Yeah.
Or we could do what we thought and then watch the prisoner puzzle. But we still got a few episodes to do. So it'll be this and then there's just three. The girl that was death.
Just a few more.
Once upon a time and Fallout after that. So there's only 4 more left. So. Yeah,
we'll just see how we feel when we do Fallout, and we could come back later with the thing if we want. Or
yeah, but I still have Space 1999 on the mind for the future, by the way. So
yeah,
we could. Oh, by the way, I looked up. I could not find podcasts in Space 1999 other than like someone does an episode of like some other podcast about it. So I could not find like a series rundown of that.
I randomly was listening to another podcast, and there was an ad for a podcast about The Prisoner that like John Hodgman is doing.
Okay, well that's
but their series is only 4 episodes total, and it's called Be Potting You.
Oh, okay. Oh, Brian sent me a link to that. Actually, I saw that. Yeah. You got competitions. Like I knew there were 2, but Space 9. We could straight up call it Podcast 1999. It's like not taken.
That's fun.
Like I thought there'd be like a bunch of them, and there's not. And if I'm lucky, I could even maybe, because we talked to Jamie Anderson for Thunderbirds. Maybe I get him in for one or something.
Nice. Hell yeah.
'Cause, yeah. Did you listen to that one? The Thunderbirds one?
No, because I haven't watched Thunderbirds in a long time, and I thought maybe I would just rewatch it or something. But
Right.
oh shit! I keep meaning to message you and Luke about this, but like your podcast about X, the man with the X-ray eyes,
Yeah.
like the version of it I saw had a dubbed-in voiceover screaming "I can still see" at the end. And the
Oh,
reason
okay.
why I didn't know this, I didn't understand this, but that was actually a rumored alternate ending that didn't actually exist, but Stephen King started like a fake rumor about it. So I guess Stephen King came up with that, and then
That's
the
a good
version I saw
idea.
had that, and I thought it was like the actual. To me, that line like made the movie. Like I thought that was like the like that put it like over the edge for me, but it wasn't even real. And then you guys just came up with it on your own, basically, which is like
Okay, good
insane.
for us.
Yeah, that was like uncanny that I was listening to you
What's
talk
a
about
good
that. I was like,
idea?
what the fuck? Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a good idea.
The last two for the Sanctuary at the time is going to be well, they're recorded is
Yeah.
King Kong Escapes and Super Mario 93. Those are the
Okay.
last two for now. And
Well,
then
I've
we'll just
actually
have
wanted
a
to
week
watch
off.
Super Mario 93. I've never seen it, so
I hadn't. That was my and our guest is actually I still don't know who our guest was, but
okay. Was
I
it
think she
good?
was yeah, it's good. She was like she mentioned Richie from our Hitchhiker's Guide episode, so I guess she has something to do with maybe with him. I mean, they
Okay.
could be married for her. They do a podcast here. I don't know. Like it was funny
Okay.
because I got on a little early and I'm like, chatting like I did have no idea who the fuck I'm talking to because I didn't bother asking Luke like who the guest was going to be or anything. He was just like be there at this time. I'm like sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So what time tomorrow? 6:30, 7:30?
7:30 because your time changed.
7:30.
7. I mean,
Okay.
I could do it a little later if need be. What?
I think 7:30 is probably fine. There's not going to be like a whole lot of
Okay. Well,
I don't think there's going to be a lot of people ordering delivery now that all of the crypto has collapsed all over the world.
oh, did
People are
that
probably
happen?
kind of scared.
Oh,
Yes. I
I
mean, it
shouldn't.
didn't
I
all
guess.
collapse, but like a lot of shit happened.
I guess I shouldn't check in on my $20 of crypto.
Yeah, it's just some shit happened. Well, the US government has decided to step in and like back everyone's deposits. So I think that we're okay
Okay.
in general, like as a society. But like people are going to be kind of spooked for a while.
Well,
I
not
think.
that many. I don't think that many people got into crypto.
Well, it's a whole thing when you read a headline that says bank collapses, second largest bank collapse
I
in
saw
history.
this. I didn't realize that had to do with crypto though, because I mean, I see a headline like that. I'm like, like that. I don't think I'm going to be interested reading it, so I didn't.
Silicon Valley Bank. It's just the general mood is people are going to be like conservative and afraid to spend money for like a few days, probably.
Okay.
That's what I'm expecting.
Right. Okay. Well, I will catch you in
All right.
tomorrow then. So have a
Hell
groovy
yeah,
one.
dude.
Hit the record.